Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my bathroom. I did not expect to say that one anytime soon. It is finally time to finish this, and there are just lots of little details. This last bit is always the tricky part. I'm going to be hitting this with some really high grit sandpaper to create some more dust. And this also shows me little spots that I need to come back and clean up, and then I will hit those with the card scraper. It just gets into all those little details. I'm going to be finishing this with Rubio Monocoat, and I know it says on there to only take it to 150 or 250 grit for the final finish. I actually like on these types of things to just lightly sand it with 400 grit. Going from the hand plane to a 400 grit just puts a little bit of dust into it to wick the finish a little bit deeper in there. If I were straight sanding it, then I would stop at a 220 or so. But because most of this is prepped with planes and scrapers, I do want some dust in there, and just lightly hitting it with 400 grit puts that in there and gives me the bonding I need with it being able to go a little deeper into the pores. And I love Rubio Monocoat. It is one of my favorite finishes because it's so simple, it's quick, it's easy, it smells fantastic, which I know sounds a bit cheesy, but it is actually really kind of nice. It is also incredibly durable, right up there with some of the film finishes you would think about. I use this for my dining room table, and I just love it. The nice thing is you just pour it onto the surface, flood it, and let it sit for about 15 minutes, then come back and wipe it off. Just polish it into the surface, and it's done. I absolutely love it. And the really cool thing about it is the maintenance on it is incredibly easy. Because it's so durable, if there is some spot you need to clean up and scrape something out of, you can scrape it and then re-flood the surface, and it won't bond into itself. So you get this perfect transition, so you don't get these spots where you would see where you have refinished it. And that's one of the problems with shellac and poly is if you just put on more coats, it keeps changing the color, and you can always tell where there's been a spot repair. Whereas with Rubio Monocoat, you can almost never find any repair that's been done on it. I love the finish. The only downside is it is a little more expensive than most. So we're going to mount the mirror to this, and it has an aluminum track running around the outside, and I'm going to thread in screws into that. So we're going to drill some holes, countersink them, and then put these screws into it. The hold into the aluminum isn't absolutely amazing, so I'm just going to overcome that by putting a lot of them in there. I think I put one every 6 inches or so around the frame, but it works out really well. I'll leave links to the hardware that I'm using down below. I was going to get really nice hardware for it, but the price of really nice hardware is a lot higher, so I'm using okay hardware. But it's enough to work with it, so I don't need anything amazing as long as it is sufficient to hold what I need. Now we can take it into the room and start hanging it up. I want to hold it in place and mark where the French cleat is on the wall so that I can first mount on the French cleat that comes out away from the wall. Once I've marked where it needs to be, I can set this in there, figure out exactly where it needs to be, and there's only one stud that this aligns with, so we're going to put one good screw through this into the stud, and then on the other ones I have 3 other that are drywall anchors holding back in. The nice thing about it is it just hangs on the wall there. With the French cleat, it makes it really nice to just pop it on there, and that's in place. We're going to do a bunch of electrical on this and get it all up in. We need to attach the hinges and put on the shelves, and having someone there to hold it while you put this rather heavy door on there is very useful. We also put some magnets in to hold it in place so it locks in, and there's a rare view of Luke, my videographer. I don't know how he got on camera for once. But we want to figure out where all the shelves go, and so I put in different things to find them. Some of them are a little higher than others, and we just want to make sure everything fits in. And of course, whenever you put the pegs in on one side, you put them on the other side, and they're always at the wrong level. It's one of those things that's really hard to eyeball. But yeah, this is all wired in, so now you can turn the on and off on the mirror itself or the switch on the wall. And I am really happy with how this came out. There is plenty of space for everything, so there's nothing that has to live on the counter, and everything can get plugged in and charged inside. So yeah, I'm in love. Happy. Yeah, I know. There's a guy with a camera and a light box. Oh well, get over it. So yes, medicine cabinet, and I really like this. It has space for everything. I've got power up in here so I can plug in my stuff. I can fit tall things, I can fit small things, I can fit all my wife's things so that the counter is clean. I still have to do a little cable routing. I'm 3D printing a cable track for this to come over to the side, up here, and up to the corner. So there's just this little sticking out that can move when the door opens and closes. But even with the electrical, I've got USB ports and different outlets on here. It's all GSCFI and is on a separate switch for the room so that I can control the light and or the outlet inside the cabinet. My wife and I have been using the cabinet now for a couple weeks, and I'm really loving it. There's plenty of space, of storage. It's functional. I love the electrical inside. I'm just really happy with how this came out. And we do now have plans available. Now that it's all done, I've formalized them all, and so those are available on my website if you'd like to see this. You can find links to that down below. So I hope you like this one. Finally, it's done. I will have a video coming out in the not too distant future where we'll do the whole thing in one video. So if you just want to see all that, otherwise, if you want to see the whole playlist where I go into more detail, links to that down below. If you have any questions, thoughts, snide remarks, please let me know those down in the comments down below. I do get to as many of those as I possibly can, and it means a lot. So thank you for that. But if you want to go even farther, there are a bunch of names over here, not near, over there. They are the patrons on Patreon, because without patrons, who are fantastic, wonderful, benevolent, and gorgeous people, we wouldn't exist. We're completely sponsored by you. So if you'd like to help out and become a patron on Patreon, think about doing that. Links down below. I think they'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the one who looks the most like Bill Burr?